Well, along the banks of the Danube River, actually crossing over the Danube River. Welcome back to Budapest, Hungary, the capital city. And the first time I've been here for any significant period of time other than 2019. I spent about a week here in Budapest. Saw the sights, saw the sounds. Prior to that, I was here in the springtime. My cousin and I, on one of our trips through Europe, we spent some time in Budapest for about 3 nights, I think. Absolutely love the city. Some things have changed though. Okie dokie, just above the St. Gerard statue that overlooks the bridge heading back to the other side. Budapest is divided into 2 separate areas. This side here that we're on, you get a little look down that direction. This is known as the Buda side. This is a little more hilly, a little more historic. The other side is the Pest side. Very commercial. That's where you're going to find your Starbucks on every corner, things such as that. Well, above the statue, we can remain in the forest, and we can actually walk down this path to get over to the castle, the church, and eventually Margit Island is my destination. That's a pretty nice little view through the trees. So I started the day, the only plan was to go up to, or over to Margit Island, which is a nice park that sits in the middle of the Danube River. Didn't plan to do any hills or anything such as that. When I went across the bridge, I realized that's a monument that I've never been up to. So here I am going up hills, but I have no water. So at some point I'm going to have to run into a supermarket and find something for some hydration. They're heading down. We're going to continue up. All right, I'm assuming I've made a wrong turn somewhere because I didn't think I would have to go downhill. I thought I would stay above the hillside. Well, Aldi comes up strong. Right there over that little berm of a hill below the Shell station, there's a big Aldi grocery store. Over here is the train station. There are several train stations, main train stations I should say, in Budapest. Well, I had to cheat and look at Google Maps. This direction in about 25 minutes, I think, puts me where I intended to go. Man, I got turned around something crazy back there. Did I mention it's 88 degrees already at noon? Call that 32 Celsius. I'm gonna climb the hill the second time. Should have looked at Google Maps. I remember in Barcelona they had escalators, moving sidewalks. Not here. Not done yet. It's quite lovely though. Nice little gardens. Whew. Well, thankfully we got some shade that we can walk in on this side. That water that I bought 15 minutes ago is down to about a third left. And up here to the left, I think we should be able to climb a little. Well, welcome to Castle Hill, where you can pay €2, $2.50 for a postcard. What a ripoff. All right, up on Castle Hill, quite a bit to see. We definitely took the long way to get up here. Budapest in July and August is normally just rammed with crowds. And the couple of days I've been here, it is not very crowded at all. Especially up here in these main touristy zones. As you get a look, we'll head into the Fisherman's Bastion, which I think now charges to go in to get the view. And in front of us is the Matthias Church with its ornate spires. Let's go get a closer look.
These three towers that you can see, the stairs are coming down. It goes up and coming down, but it goes all along there with four more towers towards the...
And alcohol-free fruit beer. You can't drink in public in Hungary, but you can have an alcohol-free one. It's kind of refreshing after the hike up here. Looking at the Fisherman's Bastion. Now, you used to be able to go on top for free, and then you could pay to use the telescopes. Last time I remember, they were charging €5 or €6 to get on top, so I'm not certain if that is still the case or not. If it is, I'm not going, but if it's complimentary, there are some terrific views over the city, but we can get those views elsewhere too. The Matthias Church, I believe it's actually been renamed, if I believe Google Maps, to our Church of the Lady Buda Castle. Looking back towards the memorial square there, not nearly as many people as you would expect to have here in July. The previous summer trip for me, this place was shoulder to shoulder with crowds, and not so much here this afternoon. Right, we finished the fruity non-alcoholic beer. We're going to walk over and see if we can get on top of the Fisherman's Bastion, which is just that wall in front of us there. We see a couple people standing up on top. It's got a great view over the river and the city. I'm guessing, since there is a lack of people standing up there, that there probably is a charge to go up there, and people just aren't buying what they're selling. So if we can't get up there, we're going to walk back down to the river and then maybe head over to Margit Island. So if you don't want to spend the €5, $6 to go up on top of Fisherman's Bastion, there are other places. Just across the way from Starbucks, you get pretty much the same view for no charge at all. We got a little bit of rain. All right, not a significant rainfall. It does cool the temperature down just a bit. All right, next plan to Margit Island, unless it turns into a deluge. Have some stairs to navigate down this time, thankfully. About 5 minutes after it started, the rain has ceased. A couple of church spires ahead, and then the Copper Dome, part of the Hungarian Parliament building. We'll get a better look down on the river. Well, off the hill and along the river, we get our best view. probably anywhere in the city, of the Hungarian Parliament building. Just on the other side, that is the Pest side. And the foreground is the Margit Bridge and the island of the same name right behind it. That's our destination. I think I'm going to take a little time out though. I'm going to get out of the sun for a little bit. It's about 3 p.m. and maybe take about an hour's break and then try to tackle Margit Island after that. I have done a boat cruise here on the Danube before. Well, we have made it centered in the Danube River between Buda and Pest. Margit Island. It is a recreational island now, all car free. You might see the occasional taxi driver. There are buses that run over and back. Here's one right there. A lot of bicyclists, scooters, plenty of walkers, and it goes for several kilometers, I believe. I'm not sure what the exact distance is. There's a large garden at the end. I think it's the Japanese garden, I believe it was. The field down there. I don't know if I'm going to make it that far today, because we're almost to 6 p.m. It's been a long walking day so far. But we'll get out and see a few of the highlights here, at least on this end. Margit Island, Budapest. May get a sense of how the island is filled with lovely trees, fountains, gardens. Quite a few people out just trying to find some shade, which I'm going to do now. Hey, it's not the Bellagio, but it's not bad. 86 degrees still, almost 6 p.m. Well, this is how you spend the day beating the heat in Budapest. Come to Margit Island. Finally, the sun is dipped back behind the clouds, so I left my spot in the shade. I sat there for a good 20 minutes. My phone says I've done about 9 miles today. And the catch is I've done 40 flights of stairs, with the equivalent of 40 flights of stairs. The legs are aching. It felt good to sit down. Let's go see what all the music is about here around the corner. It is World Cup fever, so it's got to be the Argentinian diaspora here in Budapest, getting ready for some World Cup football. Kind of a cool area along the pathway here, Margit Island. Some cafes, you can get coffee, Coke, or a cocktail, cold beer. I think I had one there last time I visited Margit Island. But I was looking at some of the prices, and you're anywhere between 4.5 to 5.5 euros, $5 to $6 for a pint of beer, local or imported. Which got me thinking, I mentioned some things that changed in Budapest, and that's one thing that has changed. Just probably right before or right immediately after COVID, those prices were half of that. Budapest has gotten less budget friendly, is probably the best way to say it, in recent years. And the second thing I was noticing, there's just not as many visitors that I had seen in previous visits to Budapest. Now maybe those go hand in hand, I don't know, but I know for certain that things are certainly more expensive than what they used to be here in Budapest. It's still an amazing city, just doesn't have as much value to it as it did just a few short years ago. Did you know Margit Island in Budapest had a mini zoo? I had forgotten. I do remember all these monuments scattered throughout Margit Island. There are many of those monuments. Another one right there. Well, I've gone about halfway down just through the Rose Garden, which I showed a moment ago. Still a few folks out, about 6:30 in the evening. I think I'm going to walk back to this side. I'm going to, I've been saving a transportation ticket all day, and I think I'm going to cash it in, which will give me a bus ride back to the start of Margit Island, and then I can jump off there and catch a tram, and that will take me out to my apartment. Need to plug the phone in anyhow, and then maybe decide to find a little bit of dinner here coming up this evening. So that'll wrap us up from Budapest as we're walking over towards the aqua park, if I remember correctly. Not sure which direction we go tomorrow. We could go west into Austria, north into Slovakia, or another destination in Hungary. I do not have an accommodation yet, so we shall see. Yep, that is the aqua park. All right, good evening from Budapest. There looks like there's a lot of people waiting to catch a bus down there.